Hi, good evening. This is John Hawkins Jr. with Gateway Counseling. This is our Tuesday night Facebook Live. We do this every Tuesday night at 8:15. You can reach me at jonh@gatewaycounseling.com throughout the week, where I'll answer any questions you have, or you can ask me questions Tuesday nights. I'll respond to those live. I'm a trauma and addiction specialist, couples therapist, and peak performance coach. We are a counseling center here in Boynton Beach, Florida, where we do individual, couple, family therapy for all mental health, relationship issues, spiritual issues, performance coaching, pretty much anything you need with psychological services we're here to provide for you. So we've been here, I think, since about 2008. So I'm not a math genius, but I think that's about 12 years. We have a mission to reach as many people as we possibly can in every way we can. So that's why we do things like the Facebook Live. We have other social media platforms, do events, like I said, all of our work here at the facility. We have always done some online counseling, but obviously since the COVID thing, we've done a ton of Zoom, FaceTime, all that kind of stuff. We are here, have been here the entire time. Some people think I'm nuts, but we've been here the whole way through, and we also do online. So whatever you're comfortable with, a lot of people are, excited that we've been here. They're ready to come back. We've been getting a lot of clients coming back in office. We do things like sanitize, all that kind of stuff to make sure you guys are safe and we're safe. We don't want to get sick either. But feel free to come in there. We'd love to have you. And if you're not comfortable, by all means, we're good with Zoom and all that kind of stuff. So on Tuesday nights, either I answer questions that come in or some issues that come up that I start to notice more and more people are talking about, asking about. I address those. So tonight's topic I want to talk about is, I wrote an article on this today. It's not out yet, but the idea that sadness, for some reason people think sadness means they're depressed. Like I need to take a medication or I need to get rid of this feeling. Like it's, just normal sadness a lot of times, or grief, or different feelings somebody has. So I have to really help them differentiate that just because you're sad doesn't mean you're depressed. They're two very different things. Depression is going to be different. Depression has 1,000 different causes. So it's not like just some disorder that, oh, you're depressed, take Prozac or do this. Like you have to really get to each person's specific cause of their depression, the root cause. It's one of the things we really are big on around here, is not symptom suppression, but symptom resolution. We want to get to the bottom of what's causing your depression. But over the last couple of years, I see more and more people feeling like somehow sadness is pathological. Like I got to get rid of it. I'm depressed. Well, your father just died. You're not depressed. You're grieving. And so in that kind of situation, if I just take something to lower my sadness or block my sadness, then my grief is going to go on a lot longer than it needs to. And so and these emotions also have very specific purposes that have benefit to us. So if you look at something like grief, all throughout our life, people are going to come and go. We're going to have different experiences that come and go, eras of our life that we transition through. So, we're going to grieve. So learning how to grieve well is essential to live a full life, because what happens if you don't learn how to grieve well, you start to defend against things that could trigger grief. So you really block yourself off to life. A good example is I was thinking about my daughter is 26 now, or soon to be in a few weeks here. She, when I took her to college, and it was like the end of an era. She's never going to be home in the same way that she was prior to that. It's like a shift. So I remember coming back that weekend and seeing all these pictures of her on the wall and feeling all this sadness and grief, and to let myself feel it. And it has benefits to it because I have two other kids, two boys. And so what happens is, I had my daughter when I was 26, and your life is, hopefully at 51 I'm more mature than I was at 26. Life, I'm pursuing things. I was trying to be a full-time musician, pursue music. All these things that I'm trying to do, and as much as she mattered to me, there was other things that grabbed my attention, or I got too focused on some of my own selfishness. And so, it cost me some moments with her that are irredeemable, that I can't get back. And so when I sat there that day after I came back from, college, dropping her off, I felt that grief. And what that grief did was it gave me information, made me feel that about some of those things I lost and missed out with her. And what that resulted in was me slowing down with my other two kids, not getting so caught up in certain things like achievement or other stuff, just my own, pleasure and things like that, where I wanted to focus more, spend more time with him, be more present, because I realized like, oh, the sadness and the pain of losing those moments and missing out on certain things that I did with her and my immaturity helped me shift focus and be different with the other two. That's the benefit of grief. So if I would have felt like, okay, this is something bad, I just need to, I just feel so horrible, I think I'm depressed, I need to take medication, like I would have missed out on the benefit of grief. The other thing it did is it helped me grieve that loss and open up to the next phase of our life together, which is, me and her connecting as a young adult. Like we can have conversations now that I couldn't have when I was 10. So it's like this whole new area of possibilities I get to experience with her now. If I had blocked that grief and I was always pining around like, oh, I wish it was like it was when she was 10, and then it's going to block me from experiencing that. I've had parents who have unresolved grief and they won't be as present with their kid or allow themselves to fully connect emotionally because the pain of when this goes away. And so what happens is they're missing out all the time. And so this is why we don't want to block emotions, why we don't label sadness as depression. It's just sadness. Actually, what leads to some types of depression is blocked sadness, not the expression of it. Because when you feel your core emotions through to completion, you feel good. They give you a sense of relief, clarity, you feel more confident, calm, like centered, and you only get to that state by feeling your true emotions through to completion. We talk about emotional processing, it just means feel it to completion, and then it kind of unlocks and guides you and moves you in directions. The word emotion means to move. So like I said, if you block grief, which is a healthy normal process, and you label it as depression, as something that needs to be gotten rid of, you miss out on the benefit. Like, so for me, that benefit was it reoriented the way I spent time and my level of presence with my other two kids because of the pain and the loss of some of the things I missed out on with my first job. So, and same thing with sadness. Like, let's say you feel sad because you're lonely, missing connection. So emotions give you information about some need or some, survival thing going on around you, and energy to go do something about that. So if I'm sitting around and I feel this sadness because I'm missing connection, it motivates me to go out and seek connection. But if I just say, well, I'm depressed and I should numb it in some way or medicate in some way, then I lose the motivation to go seek connection. Because if you're like me, you're working hard, you're doing things. Sometimes I value relationships more than anything, but like, let's say at the end of today, I've been here since 9 o'clock this morning. I don't exactly feel like picking up the phone and listening or talking to another person or, like doing some of those things, but I also want the relationships and the friendships. So sometimes it's a pain in the butt to do the things it takes to sustain relationships. But that sadness from missing connection with important people in my life motivate me to push through the pain in the butt stuff, and so I can maintain those connections. So again, the sadness is a resource. So I hope these examples give you a way to distinguish. Now, depressions can be more things like your functioning starts to get impaired. I can't get out of bed, or I have a negative perspective on life, or I'm starting to isolate. That's a different kind of thing. But don't think that every time you're sad, that means you're depressed. Or if you're grieving, that means you're depressed. Or that you're lonely, that means you're depressed. Learn how to identify what the sadness is telling you and how to use it as a resource to get the things you need. For me, grief is probably the most important emotion to live a fulfilling, meaningful life, because it orients us real quick to what's important and what's not. So when you lose something like a period of time in your life, a person, a career, in that moment, a lot of stuff you got distracted by is like immediately meaningless. It really grabs hold of you and tells you what's important and what's not. So if you just see that as depression and block it, you don't get the value of that. So if you found any of this information useful, please forward it on. As always, you can check us out here every Tuesday night at 8:15. We also, I think it's on Facebook again, but we have a YouTube channel, Gateway Counseling Center. So I know a lot of people find the videos on there. Share it with anyone you like, plagiarize, say anything you like, steal anything from me. All we want to do is help people. So, you can be a part of helping people by just forwarding on any of the videos we do on Tuesdays that you find useful. Again, you can reach me throughout the week if you want to like hit me up, if you have questions, if you want feedback on certain things. Can you explain that again, John? More than happy. John H at gatewaycounseling.com. I'll respond to all your comments. Have a great week. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys next Tuesday night.